Oh, hello. If you're wondering why I'm dancing right now, it's because I'm just celebrating getting over 130 subscribers. Thanks for the subscribers. It just took me a long time to notice this and do this update and do this party because I don't check my channel updates very often. I'm a very lazy boy. And another thing that has been in the party moved is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. After the events of Avengers Endgame, where Steve Rogers gave the shield over to him, Sam Wilson ends up giving the shield to a museum, feeling like he's not capable enough to be the new Captain America. However, this ends up leading the shield coming into the hand of a military soldier named John Walker, who names himself as the new Captain America. So Sam Wilson and John Walker are now rivals, as Sam Wilson teams up with his new friend slash sort of enemy, Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier, to team up with John Walker in some parts to figure out their ways of being Captain Americas. However, that's not the only problem that Sam and Bucky have to face. They must also face a gang of super soldiered people called the Flag Smashers. So, as you know, the Falcon himself, Sam Wilson, and the Winter Soldier himself, Bucky Barnes, must team up together to defeat the Flag Smashers, as well as decide whether Sam is capable of being the new Captain America. So, how does the Falcon and Winter Soldier hold up? Pretty damn well. I found it a very interesting show, and I was going to do a episode by episode spoiler thought on it, but I got really lazy and I ran out of time and I wasn't able to get one watch before I made a video, so I decided to postpone it until I made a review of the show. And here I am making a review of the show, and I have to say, I really enjoyed the show. It's a blast to watch. Is it as good as WandaVision? Probably, yes, it is as good as WandaVision, but it's not. I'm not sure which one is better, but we'll get to that later when we get to that. But first, let's talk about what I love about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. First of all, the best aspect of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, of course, is the comedic, dramatic, argumental, and yet really awesome chemistry between our two title characters. Their bond together and their comradeship is awesome and hilarious. These are the moments that got the best lines out of me.
I have all of that on camera, you know that, right?
I mean, each time they appear on screen, it just had me laughing a lot. But they also help bring each other to their full potential. Bucky teaching Sam that he might be as good as the Captain America as he thinks, and Sam helping Bucky to let other people into his life. So they have to work each other very well, and I personally think that their bond definitely carries the entire show. And as individual characters, they are very interesting as well. Sam is still his charismatic self, and doing the right thing is what he wants, whether for his sister, or for Bucky, or for Sharon Carter. He wants to do the right thing, but the problem is he feels like he's not capable enough to do it. Basically, his whole problem is that he has self-doubt, and he does learn that he might have more potential than he thought he does. Anthony Mackie still does a fantastic job as the Falcon. Or maybe Captain America, wink wink, we're gonna have to see. He does a fantastic job. Bucky is also still his very subtle self, but he also has a bit more charismatic than he used to be. Yeah, because he's being criticised as a Winter Soldier for being a terrorist, and he does have a little subplot in the first episode and the last episode that, again, I won't spoil, but it helps us to kind of feel sympathetic to him and want him to bring out his full good side. Yes, he can act a bit selfish and reckless sometimes, and plus makes a few wrong decisions, but he does learn, and we do understand why he makes these decisions. He just wants to be, like, appreciated a bit more, and Sebastian Stan is excellent in the role. Besides the Falcon and Winter Soldier themselves, all the other characters are fantastic as well. Like, Sam's sister, she's very kind and very interesting. John Walker is an interesting character as well, because he does start off as a bit of a jerk, wanting to be the big shock, but we can see why he wants to be a big shock, and many of his actions led him to be kind of an antagonist, but a protagonist. So he's very good on both ends. He's very amusing, supporting character slash villain with a very interesting character arc and a very important role in the story. Sharon Carter is back again from Captain America the Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War. She's back again, and she doesn't have much screen time, but even with that little screen time, she does still play an important role in the story. Not much else I can say about her, because there's a twist to her character that's later revealed. A twist that sort of becomes a little obvious earlier in the series. Zemo, from Captain America Civil War. He is awesome. He's just as good as he was in the Captain America Civil War. He's very subtle, but also untrustworthy, but you can see him, like, crashing more into becoming a bit more of a hero because he ends up joining Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I really loved his character. The actor who plays him, I can't remember his name, I'll put him down here, Daniel Cole or something, I don't know, put him down here. He's clearly having a lot of fun playing this character, whether to be a comedic character or a very subtle character. But either way, he does a fantastic job, and I think he's a very interesting and yet awesome character. Now, there is one character that I'm kind of mixed about. She's not bad, but she's not great either, and that's our villain, Carly, who is also the leader of the Flag Smashers. I'm still a little torn by how to feel about the character. I do like her, but there are some points where I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that works. I'll discuss more of her character later on, but she is a very amusing main villain. She tries to make some excuses for her actions, and honestly, I can understand why she does these things, and yet I'm very shocked by what she does. The show wants me to feel sorry for her, but honestly, while I did feel a little sympathetic towards her character, I never felt sorry for her that much because of what she does, and it's not very enough, and her sympathetic story is not enough to make me sympathise with her that much because of everything she's done, and I wanted her to be beaten. So that's what makes the character very interesting, and I'll talk more about her character later on. There is one character that I think is the best character in the show. I can't believe that I forgot about him, because he really deserves credit for this show, and that is Asia Bradley. Now, I don't want to spoil too much about his character, but I will say, damn! Such a tragic character he was. I mean, the way he described what happened to him in the past, and many of the scenes where he's on screen in emotional moments and all that, I couldn't help but feel sorry for him. Like, just hit me right here. I mean, the actor playing him does a fantastic job adding emotion and anger to his character that made me really appreciate him more. He doesn't have a lot of scenes, but when he's on screen, he is awesome to watch because he can be witty but also sympathetic and angry at the same time. The action scenes are awesome as well. They are so intelligent, they are so engaging, thrilling, awesome yet intense. There are so many moments in the show that just go awesome. It's like, whoa, so cool, but at the same time there are some moments where you're like, whoa, oh my god. There are some scenes where you're like, oh my god, that is so intense and shocking as well. I mean, to see that in an MCU show, wow, that is so shocking. And the final episode is where the show is at its most exciting because it builds up to something that we've been waiting for the past 5 episodes. And in the 6th episode, the final episode, when Sam finally does what he does and gets what he gets, wow, that is probably the most awesome scene in the entire show. However, despite the show's good characters and awesome action scenes, I was very surprised as how intellectual it is. I mean, the show has actually a lot of morals and messages to tell. Identity, self-doubt, and racism. Now, I can't exactly say how the show handles it because it is a spoiler, so I won't say what it is, but I was surprised as to how intellectual the show is and how clever it is, and it does make some points that I was like, you know what? These people are right. What they're saying is correct. So, well done, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Well done, MCU. Well done, Marvel Studios, for introducing this intellectual project into an MCU show or movie. And with that said, let's talk about the problems. First off, there are many plots in the show that, while they were very interesting, they didn't reach up to their full potential, and that they didn't have as much attention that I wanted it to. I think the biggest example of this is this Wakandan subplot. I won't say what it is, but this Wakandan subplot had interesting parts. It was very interesting, but it didn't live up to its full awesomeness as I thought it would. I mean, if it happened in the final episode, if there was a battle in the final episode with these Wakandan warriors that appeared in the subplot, then I think it would have been a lot better. But it was interesting, and plus, it does lead to Sam Wilson's most awesome moment in the 5th episode and the 6th episode. So I guess I can't fault the book entirely because of what happened, but I just wish it was lived up to its full potential. However, while that subplot isn't as much as I thought it was, that isn't the biggest problem I have with this show. The biggest problem I had with the show, and it's a problem that I mentioned earlier because I was very torn on it, and that is Carly. On the one hand, she is quite an effective villain because she comes off as very sympathetic but also hateful, and you want to see her get her comeuppances because we do see her do many things that ends up causing us to go against her witnesses. I mean, the government may have started it, but Carly made it worse. But my biggest problem with her character is that I personally felt like that her motivations were a little confusing. Now, not as confusing as they don't make sense, because they do make sense. But what the problem is that it has a bit of an identity crisis about what it wants to be. At first, her motivation is basically a survival. She does anything she can to survive. That's why she's becoming an antagonist. But then later on, it becomes Thanos thing where but she mentions that she thinks what she's doing is right. That was very interesting, but also kind of goes against the first motivation. And then in the final scenes, in the final battle, another motivation that changes a few things, and I'm like, oh come on. If you want to be like Thanos, fine. If you want to survive, fine. If you're going to challenge someone, fine. But you can't have your cake and eat it too while also drinking a glass of water. You can't have all three of them. Now, you might think that's interesting, and I personally find them interesting, but they just contradict each other. And it made me it made it kind of hard for me to resonate with Carly as a character when I'm not even sure what her character is supposed to be doing. What is she trying to do? And she just doesn't become as good as a villain as I thought she would. She was very interesting, but it just made me she's just not that as interesting of a villain as, say, Thanos or Agatha. So she just kind of weighs down, and she's not as interesting as many of us. I mean, I liked some of her motivations, but if she just had one motivation, I would have understood. But you can't have all three of them. However, despite these problems, I had a blast watching The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's such an awesome show. I mean, I might not have said it before, but I did think it was an awesome show because it has a lot of great moments. It has great chemistry between our two main characters, has many cool ideas, very shocking and awesomeness, and some very intellectual messages that will speak to audiences. And I will give the show a 4.5 stars out of 5. Now, you're probably wondering, which show do I like better? Do I like WandaVision better, or do I like Falcon and the Winter Soldier better? Well, this isn't really a comparison video, so I'm not going to make any comparisons to these shows. But I'm honestly mixed, because I like some things about this show, I like some things about this show. I don't like some things about this show, I don't like some things about this show. So I kind of like them both the same. But if I had a gun point to my head and I had to decide, I think I might have to go with WandaVision, because there are some more emotional resonance to that show that tugged me a bit more on the heartstrings a little bit. But however, that does not discredit Falcon and the Winter Soldier one bit, because it continues the story of Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes very, very well. And there are some rumours of a possible Captain America 4 with Sam Wilson, and I honestly cannot wait to see it. I wonder if Sharon Carter might be someone. I won't say someone, but I will say someone. I wonder what's going to happen in that 4th movie, so I'm very excited to see. But anyway, what do you think of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Do you love it? Do you hate it? I'd like to know which version of Captain America do you like more. Do you like Chris Evans or do you like Anthony Mackie? Honestly, nobody can beat Chris Evans. But I will get more done, I promise. I'm just very tired. Sorry. So anyway, I'm Daniel Review Movie TV shows, doing videos. Like, click, comment, subscribe, share, bell notifications. Peace out, man. Now let's get back to partying. This song's very catchy.
He knows what it is.